Hey guys, my name is Jonah Battle, and today I'm going to be rescaping my green iguana Charlie's enclosure. This 110 gallon sized custom made enclosure with a custom background, and it's also bioactive, so should be pretty interesting. Okay, so there's a couple reasons I'm taking on this huge feat of rescaping this bioactive enclosure. The one of the reasons is that the water bowl is really annoying, and I don't know how I'm gonna fix this, but it needs to be easier to get out because he poops in it every single day, and his poops are ginormous, and I want him to have clean water. So maybe putting it closer to the front, making it easier to get out. The second is enrichment. If I completely redo the whole thing, then it'll be new enrichment for him to explore it, considering everything's been in here for, I'd say, around 9 months, maybe. That's how long everything's basically been in place. Like all the main things. There's a lot that I've added since then, and I just kind of feel like redoing it. Also, there's ants in here, and I don't know what kind they are. I should, because I tend to know ants, but if you do have terrariums, then you kind of know that sometimes normal pests that you'd have in your house will sneak into there. Like, as you can see in the back, or I can see anywhere, there's spider webs back there, which I don't worry about. Charlie's a big iguana, not a problem. I haven't seen ants in any of my other enclosures, but there are ants in here, and if there is a nest that they made, then I want to disrupt that and try to kill them if I can, just by disrupting it. So we'll see how that goes. And also I have a new piece of wood that I want to add in. There's only one, but I'll definitely be adding that in, and I might take some stuff out, so we will see. But real quick, I'm going to think of a plan, and then I'm going to start. So I basically started off with taking any wood, any hardscape, so any big pieces of wood, any rocks, any small pieces of wood, any leaves, but almost all the plants. I left the two big plants in there, and also the water bowl out. I wanted to move the water bowl to the front, and the basic plan was to switch everything around. I mean, originally, basically, I wanted to just switch around the whole tank, reverse everything, but it didn't end up that way in the end, and I'm happy it didn't, because I think it ended up looking pretty cool. But I didn't take the really big piece out. I'd just like to say something real quick. I don't know if this is an amazing thing or not, but I find it pretty cool. So the substrate that I use, which is, it has eco earth, topsoil, and a bunch of other things, like a mix. I've shown you guys before. I don't have an exact science to it like Separate Design does, but it's basically a mix of different things. And one thing that I've noticed is that it holds shape really well. And I don't know if it's just because it's really wet, but as you can see there, I take this tub out and none of it moves. And it could be because it's really moist, but then the stuff that I have some down there in a bag. That is not wet. I mean, it's not dry, but it's not wet either, if that makes sense. It's not super moist like this is, and it also holds shape really well. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people who make substrates to sell look for, and I just find it pretty cool that the substrate that I make does that. So that's all I wanted to say, and now back to the time lapse. Like I said, originally I was just going to try to reverse everything, but then how I had put the water bowl, as you just saw in the last clip, I couldn't put the big piece with the 3 or 4 pieces coming out of it, the really big tree-like piece. I couldn't fit that over on the other side, so I ended up just pushing it back into the corner and then basically adding in wood all around it, including the one piece that I got from Arizona, which was pretty cool. And then I spent forever on this piece. I couldn't figure out how I wanted it, and I ended up going off, washing my hands a few times. I don't know, it took me a while to get that to the point that I wanted. At this point, my phone had died, and I think I stopped and ate for a little while before I came back down. And I also planted some grass seed off camera because, again, my phone died. But now I am just finishing off any wood pieces that I have left, and I think I only left like one bit of a wood piece out, and that was pretty much it. There the lights turned off because it turned 6, which is when the lights are supposed to turn off for the day. And then I went to start adding in all the botanicals, and earlier I added in any like old food that you actually saw that way earlier when I added it into the substrate. And now I took the 2 pieces of plexiglass off, cleaned them with a shirt, and got all the stuff off the white part at the bottom. Okay guys, so here is the finished product of Charlie's new scape. And you might have seen me with some silicone at the very end of that time lapse. It's because this is where the ants are getting in at, and I blocked it off with some silicone, so I'm sure they'll find another way. It's not like they won't be able to find any way because I blocked off the one area, but I'm sure it should confuse them for a little while, as you can see down there. And I couldn't find anything. I think if there is anything, it's in that back corner. You can see it's in that back corner, but I couldn't get there because the iguana would freak out, and I didn't want to crawl in with my head in here because I was scared that he'd whack it with his tail. So if there is anything, then it's in that back corner, and I'm not too worried about it because they are tiny ants. And he seems to be getting along just fine with them, and he's pretty big, as you can see. I don't think they're gonna hurt him in any way. You know, if there was a smaller lizard in here, then I would be worried. And as well, I've never seen any on him. They tend to stay at the soil. So yeah, if I do ever move anything in here, anything else in here, I'll probably figure something out. If I do ever move anything else in here, I think I'll just attach doors, so then there's not area like this. It'll just be doors, because that's what I'd rather have. But this is working, and I don't think it's going to be an issue. So I moved the water, so it's now easier to, here, I'm going to open the door, make it a little bit easier to see in here. It is now easier to get, and the soil, like I said, the soil holds really well, so to get it out of the enclosure isn't a problem at all. And then back here is actually a hide, which is kind of hidden. If he did try to get into there, I'm sure he could and get out. He's pretty big, and he doesn't normally hide on the ground, but it's just a little nook for him to explore into. Then I left these 2 plants here the whole time because I didn't really want to disrupt them, and then I didn't think it'd be a problem to move these 3 bamboo plants, and I just left them over here by the water. Then this time there's a lot more dirt and stuff back in the back here, and I kind of like that, so then you don't see the white behind it anywhere at all, which I like a lot more. So I basically took all the wood and just pushed it into that back corner, and then this area is, I think, a lot cooler because it's very, like, there's just a little flat area here, and before that was like there in that area, and I couldn't reach it or anything. So now it's here, and that's where I'll be putting his food, is just like all around here. And I think that will be pretty cool. And then I added in the piece from Arizona right there, and you can actually see it from there, as you can see. And then right here is the big rock that I brought from Arizona as well. It's all hidden, but that's like a 3-pound rock. It's bigger than this one right there. So I think it's a lot cooler. And then I planted grass seed off camera because my phone was charging. If you guys enjoyed this video, like it down below. If you have any comments or concerns, put in the comments below. And if you want more content, then subscribe. Also, I have videos on making this terrarium. I have 2 videos on making this terrarium. One just hit like 6,000 views, which is really awesome in my opinion, so that's good. And go back and watch that one. That's the one where I actually make this setup. So I set up this, and then there's another video which I think has over 1,000 for sure views, where I put everything in. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a fantastic day. By the way, one of the pieces of wood that I did take out, I put it in here because I thought that would go with this kind of river dam type of theme I'm going for here. Like if there's a river going like this and then wood. Have a fantastic day. Hope to see you next video.